Okay, I'm all out of statements, so we will open it straight up to questions and let Mr. Nesbitt go first.
Do you like what you've seen lately in the battle at?
We'll take the next question, please. I tell you, I really appreciate you guys that are here today. I thought we had a pretty good one on Monday, and we'll continue to try to build a great working relationship and try to get you as much information as possible. So with that, let's get started. Today, practice number 15, halfway over. Ended up having 1 2-a-day, but the 2-a-days in the past where everybody looks forward to camp ending, I think are long gone. We got uppers practice today. We will go full pads live tomorrow. We will go scrimmage Saturday morning, and then camp ends. Guys will move into dorms, and all the students will be back, and then we will have the luxury of practicing a game week, have a mock game next Saturday, and then the real thing the week after that. So where we stand right now, I like where we're at. We got pretty much everything in. Trying to get them back, trying to get them healthy at this point, but we still got to keep moving forward, which is a good, healthy practice tomorrow and a pretty good scrimmage on Saturday. So that's all joking aside. That's kind of where we're at. So we'll take some questions from there.
Position battles that are still going on. Dravon and Jeremy Tower still competing. What are some of the ones you guys are still evaluating?
Yeah, that's one, a corner spot. We're still looking for a starting corner. Daryl Worley has established that spot. KJ is just now coming back, so he's KJ Dillon is just now getting back into the swing of things. Linebacker, we got battles going on. We got guys that Brandon Golson's going to be in a green jersey again today. Should get cleared full go here in about another week. Kwiatkowski's been out for about a week, so that's let Al Benton and Edward Muldrow get a bunch of snaps. So what the rotation is going to be right there, I don't think we know yet. Same thing that's happening on the D-line. I think we're a good solid 2 deep on defense. I just don't know who the starters are, and I don't know what the rotations are going to be yet.
Same thing with running back, with the repetition, getting the reps and stuff. Still figuring that out.
Still figuring it out. Dream has had a good day a couple days ago. And the same thing is going to be there. Whoever we put down on paper as far as who the starter is, I don't think that's going to be an indication of how many reps they're going to get. Whoever gets the hot hand, whatever our game plan is going to be, those guys are versatile. They can do different things. So everybody wants to see the starters who we march out there, but I think what's probably more important to that is how many snaps they're going to get throughout the course of the game. Don't know the answer to that yet.
I'm sure after a 4-8 season last year that you evaluated everything. I assume also you evaluated camp in that too.
But we moved on from that.
Yeah. Did you make changes from camp last year to this that you felt were necessary, or you felt that was okay?
To answer your question, yes. Everybody kind of has the same amount of days that they can tackle and have live contact and all that. So, which was about the same amount that we did last year. I tell you what we changed this year more than anything was what's going to happen next week. Just as far as last year, we had a pretty heavy first week, or first school week. Okay, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Those 5 days were pretty heavy, and I felt like we were tired going into game week. So we're going to practice in true game week next week. It'll be just like it was, just like it'll be the next week as far as a heavy Tuesday. We're still going to put pads on and practice Wednesday, but then we're going to teach them how to practice Thursday, how to practice Friday, how to travel Friday, and then how to have a game day on Saturday. So I think that will get our legs underneath us a little bit better.
Not to dig up the past again, but last year was the first year your offense didn't work. Wherever you've been, you've had certain milestones, certain markers you guys have been able to hit.
Right.
From your perspective, how frustrating was that, and did you guys learn anything about yourselves as coaches going through that last year, you and Shannon?
Yeah, it was miserable. I think Tony and I were talking about this the other day. Just those dynamics, I don't anticipate ever happening again in the next 30 years of coaching, or however long I'm fortunate to be able to coach. You had 3 new coaches that had never been with us before. Had the issue issues at quarterback that have been very well documented. You had 6, 7 skill kids that have been in the program for their first year. That's just a dynamic that's not good. You know, I thought we did a pretty good job up front of holding it together with some older guys, but just the timing, the continuity, the chemistry just wasn't there. So, you know, and then just looking back on it, I mean, you just sit there and you study what we did and what the plays are, and you try to make some changes, which we do each and every year. And with that said, I think we're way ahead of where we were a year ago. You know, time will tell how it is.
The follow-up to that, the guys had said this camp seems a lot more relaxed from their perspective, offensively speaking, that they're a lot more comfortable, and it seems like you guys are a lot more comfortable with them because of it.
Well, there's familiarity with everything, with personnel, with coaches, with the scheme. You know, we know who our starters are on offense. We know who's going to play. Those guys know what the offense is. We're not teaching them what to do. I mean, we were teaching guys what to do game 8, 9, 10, 11 last year. So at this point in time, offensively, we're not teaching anybody what to do. We're just trying to get better at what we're actually trying to get accomplished. It's all technique, and you know, just they're learning nuances of where they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to get there, as opposed to telling them where to go and all that. So it's just a big difference, night and day.
Is the pace and the tempo of the offense where it should be right now?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. We worked 2 minute the other day for the first time, and it was like we've been doing it all along. The worst thing that you can do when you kind of stink on offense is go fast, because then it just stinks real quick. You know, so you know, I'm very fortunate, or very comfortable with able to go as fast as we want to go right now, because they understand what they're supposed to do.
Coach, how about the offensive line now? Last Saturday, Coach Cook said that he had 5 starters ready to go, but he was looking for 7 or 8 guys. Has anybody progressed up the table this week?
Yeah, the 5 starters are playing really well together. Those 5, we all know who those 5 are. Those guys are playing well. Still anxious to see how our relatively inexperienced, talented tackles are. You know, as far as some pretty good pass rushers that we're going to face, obviously game 1 and then in the Big 12 as well. Mike Colicchio just gave him a scholarship. He's the 83rd guy on scholarship right now. Just such a good story. This big giant of a man was awful 5 years ago when he showed up. Just couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. Because of his hard work on the field, off the field, is a great student. Is one of our leaders on the entire team right now. When he talks, people listen. You know, and you know he's a guy that he can play all 5 positions. He can't play center, but he can play guard and tackle. So he's a guy that we can count on. Stone Underwood was clearly our 6th guy for the first week and a half. He got a little bit of a shoulder deal out there. Actually, you guys saw it when we did that Oklahoma drill. He's just now coming back from that. So that's been 8, 9 days for him. But he's a guy we're going to count on. And then you know, the other guy's Tony Maggio, who I've been very happy with. He's the backup center. You know, he's a guy that's been getting better and better as well. So I would say right now those are kind of our 8. You know, and then we got some young kids like Marcel Lazard and Grant Lingenfelter that have been doing good. They're redshirt freshmen. I hesitate to talk about redshirt freshmen on the O-line.
Not position specific, but what does it take to be successful as a first-year player? In your time coaching, have you seen a common thread between guys who have had success coming out right away?
Speed of the game is the biggest thing. You know, first-year players, I mean, you know, they can be freshmen or JC guys or 4-year guys. You know, if they're not used to the speed of the game, then they're going to struggle a little bit. You got to be able to think quick. You know, so those guys are able to see things and be able to react to it. It's not always about size and speed. It's about the mental aspect of reacting to it.
At one point, Shannon said, early in spring, that he said it was a good time to be a running back at West Virginia, the way things set up. What would you project as the run pass ratio, or what would you like to see?
You know, we want to be able to do both. We couldn't do either last year, but wanted to be able to do both. It all depends on what the defense is doing. If they outnumber you in the box, then we're not going to sit there and run it into people that are unblocked. You got to be able to throw the ball. You know, some certain people's game plans are, you know, put 2-3 safeties back there all the time, and we got to be able to sustain blocks hat for hat up front. Then you should run the ball every single play. So it's all indicative of what the defense is doing. You got to be able to do both. The teams that are good are able to do both. I've been on plenty of teams where we've only been able to do one thing, and don't consider that to be a great offense.
Shannon said one of the things he's noticed is a big change for you guys is situational offense, that it's a lot better right now, whether it's third down, whether it's score zone stuff. Have you seen a big change there, and how much of that is just maturity, year two, that experience there?
Yeah, you're talking about offensive efficiency is what you're talking about. We were middle of the pack last year, offensive yards per game, yards per play, middle of the pack last year. But at dead last in the stuff that matters, which is third downs and fourth downs and turnover margin and score zone rate. So good offense are ones that are extremely efficient in those situations. Everybody's good enough to be able to get yards and first downs. It's the great offenses that are able to be efficient when it really matters. And I hope you didn't jump the gun on that. We haven't played a game. Don't know if we've made progress on it or not. We've been focusing on it, but we focused on it last year as well.
What are some of the things you could do to improve this?
Again, it's people that just understand what you're doing. You know, I mean, they got to be able to. You know, there's no secret why Florida State they were the most efficient red zone team in the country last year at 97%. I would say that's pretty dang good. You know, they scored when they got down there. They scored every time. So that's just, you know, being able to understand the offense, being able to execute when it gets hard. And it gets hard on third downs. It gets harder on fourth downs. It even gets harder when you get closer to the goal line. So being able to execute efficiently when things are extremely hard is what good teams are made of. And we had our problems defensively at that too. I thought we were pretty good defensively just in playing defense. We got better. But when it was third down, weren't very good. We were last in the league in third down defense, if I'm not mistaken. We got to get better at that. We got to get better in critical situations.
Danny, you got to look at your 2-minute offense, you said, right? First time. You sound like you know a whole lot about what you guys can do offensively, but that was the first time you did that. Are there still yet things that you have not worked on you want to see, or you're curious to see that you'll soon take for a spoon?
We've covered every situation at this point. You know, at this point, you know, 15 days into it, we've covered every situation. I am not saying we're good at every situation. I'm saying we covered it. 2-minute was something we covered a couple of days ago. Because of how we've been practicing, I didn't think that we would have a problem with being able to do that. I mean, we've done. You guys saw enough tempo period that we did. You know, part of that period is just call plays and as fast as you can, because it does two things. It puts people in opportunities that they have to play 5, 6, 7 plays in a row, and they have to be able to think when they're dog tired. So you know, so we're getting them in game shape, and we're putting people in situations where they don't have time to think about it. They just got to react to it. Okay, so even though that period may look bad at times, I'm okay with it because of what we're trying to get accomplished in that specific period. So when we went into the 2-minute, we're taking it a step further where they have to know the situation. They have to know when to get out of bounds. They have to know when to clock it. They know when they can huddle up. They know when they can sub. So we're able to get up on the ball and snap it as quickly as we possibly can and get plays called because we've been practicing that. We just had to look at the situation as far as, you know, how much we were down, how much is on the clock, that sort of thing, which we responded to that pretty well.
And have you settled on the number 2 quarterback?
You know, Paul's looked good. He's been getting reps. He's obviously the most game ready. Haven't made that decision for sure. William's a guy that's going to continue to rep. He's going to continue to get better. What his ceiling is high. You know, how far he can advance, I don't know yet. So he will continue to get reps as well.
Have you ever been a proponent of Wildcat, you know, for linemen or something like that?
I've never done it with, you know, not to say I'm against it, but have never done it based on not having a guy that could do it. And then in addition to that, you know, we've always had starting quarterbacks to discard last year, but we've always had a guy that was the main guy that was pretty good that we didn't want to take off the field, period.
Do you think it's a bad thing? Pull a guy off, I mean, is that?
I think it can be harmful, yes. disrupt your flow. I think one guy, if he's the clear-cut main guy, which at this point Clint is, Clint's playing extremely well. There's a comfort level that he has that is positive, that I'm excited about. There's a comfort level that his teammates have with him right now that is good. Pulling him off the field would not be the appropriate thing to do at this point in time.
If Millard wins the backup job, would you redshirt Crest?
Well, hell, we had to use 3 of them last year. You know, you can't. You know, in a perfect world, you'd like to redshirt everybody that has a redshirt. But I don't think we can make that decision at this point.
Dana, Clint was saying that he's becoming more and more comfortable with the offense up to this point. Do you feel like he's mastered the offense? Have you had a quarterback ever master your offense?
I don't know what that means. You know, football's hard. It's a new challenge each and every week when you're trying to figure out what the game plan is and how you execute against a different set of dynamics on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't think anybody's mastered anything. He certainly hasn't. Seen how he hasn't mastered anything in a game setting at this point. So I think I'm very happy with where he's at. Mentally, I'm happy with where he's at physically. I'm happy with where he's at from a leadership perspective. He's got to do it in games. You know, before everybody's extremely happy with him, he's got to do it in games. He knows that. I think everybody knows.
Coach, I know we got a couple weeks to go, but what's your level of confidence on the special teams?
Good. These guys, you know, Coach DeForest, one, has a plan and is pretty good at what he does. That's widely known across the country. He's done a good job with these guys. You know, they're a bunch of goofballs. You know, Molinari did something, won a bet, so he did a big chest bump and came down and twisted his ankle. So we had to remind them that they have a job that they have to do. But he's going to be fine. But those guys have a good relationship with Joe, and they're functioning pretty good. So like those guys, the return aspect of it is something that we've all talked about. We were bad at it. It's been a area of emphasis in camp. I think we have guys that can return the ball. Our blocking has to be better up front on both punt return and kick return. So, you know, then the kickoff and the punt team last year were as good as anybody in the country at that. So feel equally as good as that. So extremely happy with where we're at. Well, the guy, he's got a boot on his foot right now. Mike's done well, you know, and then Nick can do it as well. So, you know, we got 2 guys that can do it. We would prefer Molinari to be the guy, you know, just because that way they can specialize in a different thing. So, you know, when he comes back, I don't know. We'll see.
Even if he's not back, does he live out there and hold? I mean,
Yes. Yeah, I would think so. You know, and Nick O'Toole he's a great holder. I mean, he may be better than Mike at. Mike's got the experience. Would obviously go with him. That's one area that I got a lot to worry about. That's one area I don't feel like I really need to worry about it too much. I promised Joe when they miss, which chances are they will at times, then I just mind my own business.
I know you joked about comments getting taken out of context. Did you have to talk to the team about that at all? I mean, did you pull the guys aside and say, look, this is what I meant in terms of your comment?
I mean, we have sessions like that, obviously, you know, and we try to educate them. Mike and Mike do a great job of educating them as far as what they say, and I think we've got good kids that understand, you know, what realities are and what you pay attention to and what you don't.
You mentioned injuries other than, I guess, Marcellus and maybe Jared Barber. Anybody else that you're worried about?
Yeah, Barber's not going to be ready. It's unfortunate. He's such a good team leader. He will still have that role as a leader. He gets down there and coaches the heck out of the linebackers. I mean, he's a great kid to have around. If he doesn't get back to where he's able to play this year, then a year from now he's going to be excited about being a fifth-year senior, you know, and being able to graduate with 25 of the guys that he came in with. So, you know, if he can't go, then he won't. Jackie's out, and other than that, there's some day-to-day guys, you know, that you know, the list grows and shrinks every day based on the previous practice. But at this point in time, those are the only 2 that have been strictly ruled out.
Have you guys started talking about Alabama at all yet?
Not yet. We'll start Monday. you know, my theory on this thing is it's been this way forever, is get where you break camp on Saturday. You know, and at that point in time, you know, the kids are excited about moving into their dorms, and all the females are running around campus, and they will have an academic meeting on Sunday night. We have Women's 101 on Saturday night. Y'all are invited to that. And then Monday they start school, so that's their off day. So we will sit in meetings for 12, 15 hours and begin our initial preparation for Alabama, which is still 2 weeks out. At that point, still 2 weeks out.
Dana, did you ever think of the challenge of going against another coach in Cincinnati State? Just got a book saying he's maybe the greatest ever. And personally, do you like that kind of a challenge? Do you think about it?
Well, I think every coach likes that kind of a challenge. I mean, his body of work speaks for itself. I mean, we'll talk more about it here when they're actually, you know, right in front of us. We'll talk more about it as in the media. But you know, I'm fortunate to be able to go against a bunch of good quality coaches. You know, and they have been that way for quite some time. So, be a challenge, but yeah, we look forward to challenge.
Dana, junior college guys, you figure you recruit so they can play right away, but is Glowinski a good example of why that isn't right for everybody, especially on the line? Just the way he looks and the way he's kind of built himself up, maybe just in the past year alone.
Yeah, and I think that has something to do with the position he's playing too.
Right.
When he came in, we're going to redshirt Sylvester Towns, and this is why. One, we're able to do it. Offensive line is the hardest position to play. It's the most challenging position to play. Glowinski coming in, there was many a days when we had our Sunday night football stuff where I looked at him and it was like, boy, did we make a mistake here? I mean, he couldn't play 2 or 3 plays in a row and was breathing hard, struggling. I mean, he just did not look good. Going into his junior year, you could see the improvements that he made. Going into his senior year, he's as good of an offensive guard as I've seen. I mean, he looks great. He's a great kid. He's a great leader. He's great academically. It's exactly what you want. You know, just wasn't quite ready. I think that has a lot to do with what the actual position is. I think Dale Wolfley in the back can attest to that. Offensive line is pretty dang tough. You know, so he needed that year, and I would imagine a year from now when we're talking about Sylvester Towns, it'd be the same thing. Can't afford to do that in other positions. Stone's a good example of that too. He wasn't ready a year ago, and now going into his redshirt junior year, he's a guy that can contribute.
Okay, thanks, Coach.